Hey, I just wanted to make a video about a couple of things that I haven't really been able to find in like tutorials about playing the berimbau. Um, it's just stuff that kind of gets skipped over. You know, you get the basic gist of it, but you don't really hear these things. And this is kind of just my opinion from playing around with stuff. You know, maybe in the future that will evolve, but for now these are a few things that I didn't realize when I started trying to play the berimbau that maybe would be useful. I don't know. So one of the major things that I find doesn't get discussed about the berimbau is how to hold the berimbau beyond just, you know, rest the bottom string on your pinky and hold the virga with your two middle fingers, right? But there's actually many more points of contact that you can utilize with the berimbau, right? So what I've found from learning how to play and trying to get better with it is that your pinky is really a vital thing for balancing the berimbau. It's actually got up to 4 points of contact that you can control the angle of the berimbau, the angle of the virga. And so, you know, the first point of contact that usually everyone discusses when you try to look for a tutorial is to put the, you know, the string that attaches the cabasa on the tip of your pinky finger, right? And so this is the same spot, being a bassist, you know, bass guitar, upright, whatever, or regular guitar even, and this is the same spot you're going to hit and put that string into that you would for playing those other instruments. But the next point of contact that you need to understand is the other side of the string. The you know, the outside side of the string rests in the groove of the you know, rest in the first joint, groove of the first joint of your little finger. And so that gives you a nice ability, depending on which side you flex your finger on, to like rebalance the berimbau. If it's kind of going to one side, you flex, you know, if it's headed that way, you flex the side of the string that's in the joint of your little finger. And if it's starting to fall this way, you flex the tip of your little finger. And that will kind of rebalance it side to side. And then you've got your pinky rest like pushed up against the virga, and so that will prevent it. If it starts falling towards you, you can push on that and it starts bringing it back to center. Now the other point of contact is the kind of side of your little finger, and if you kind of roll your pinky or little finger towards the side, it presses it back and it starts to tip towards you. So you've really got 4 directions of control with your little finger, you know, to kind of rebalance the berimbau. So, you know, that's incredibly useful. That's most of the balance of the berimbau right there. Now you've got your middle finger and your ring finger on the side of the virga, and you can kind of use that to tip it one side or the other. You know, you can kind of use that as to rebalance it a little bit here and there. That's kind of your pivot point. And that's going to be where the top and the bottom kind of pivot around those 2 fingers. More so your middle finger. And then, so that brings us to some more points of contact. Because really, the tutorials as a beginner, that seems like all you get, right? You've got the tip of your little finger, and you've got your index and your middle finger, right? Or your ring and your middle finger. Right? So that's only 3 points of contact on the berimbau. But we already said there's up to 4 for just your little finger alone. Then you've got 5, 6 with your 2 fingers in the middle. And then what I've discovered through playing is that so I looked for dobrows online, right, and tried to find, you know, one to order and get like a nice dobro, right? Well, the only ones I can find are like crazy amounts of money, and they have to come shipped from overseas. It's like a month to get them here. It's nuts. So being someone who likes nature and collecting rocks anyway, like I go out and I look for just, smooth, round stones. I find like river stones work awesome. Anything that you would try to skip across the water if you threw it sideways, anything like that works great. I prefer a little thicker to like the thinner ones. And what really helps is trying to find one that kind of has an oval shape, is a little longer, because what that allows you to do is that allows you to rest the tip of your index finger against the virga while you're playing. So that gives you another point of contact. And that's incredibly useful. It's amazing how much more stable it becomes when you do that, right? And that's awesome. And that's not something that anybody really talks about, right? And then, so you've got a point of contact there. Then you've also got another point of contact on the side of your thumb. You can kind of rest the side of your thumb up against the virga. And now, so this definitely will cause you some blisters if you overdo it. You're going to have to get used to it, maybe get a callus going there or whatever. But, if you take it easy, eventually you get used to it. And, it doesn't bother me anymore, after a while of doing it. So the other point of contact that nobody discusses really in tutorials is that the heel of your hand rests up against the kibasa on the side. Just kind of gently rest there, and that's another point of contact. It's the same spot that if you've watched tutorials for like Piao Ji Mao or bridge rotation, that's the spot that you want to like rotate around on your palm usually. But that rests gently up against the side of the kibasa, adding that point of contact too, a little more stability. And from what I can tell, it doesn't really deaden the sound any, so I've been doing it that way. It seems to work great. But yeah, so there's that. And then the other thing too is that from what I understand, there's many different ways to place the opening of the kibasa onto your body. Some people like it on their stomach, some people have it on their chest. So that doesn't get discussed a lot as far as I can tell. One thing I can tell you is having a good posture is awesome. I tend to get pinched nerves and stuff. You don't want anything to fall asleep while you're trying to play berimbau. So it's really important to keep that posture nice and upright. And I find when I do that, my chest sticks out a bit. So like a natural spot to rest the opening of the kibasa when I do the shiado or the ghost note or muted note, if you will, if you're thinking in terms of guitar or bass. When you play that, I like the opening to rest kind of, your rib cage kind of forms like an arch around your solar plexus. And I like to put it right there, and I find that that's just a really natural place for the kibasa opening to land. So that's another point of contact. And you can kind of readjust when you go to close the kibasa and hit the shiado notes. You can kind of readjust your hand quickly. So that's kind of like a good time to kind of readjust and get your balance back and kind of reset. So yeah. So hopefully, if you're just starting with berimbau, some of those tips as far as balancing and positioning might help you a little bit. I still need a ton of work on it. I still need a lot of work on the balance and the playing and everything. It's a work in progress. But so far, that's where I'm at as far as, learning how to control the berimbau. Yeah, so good luck to you guys out there if you've just got a berimbau and are starting out with it. It's fun. It's just awesome, man. Have fun with it. All right. Take care.